All right, what's up, y'all? It's Tony. Welcome back. This week, just wanted to talk to y'all about real estate a bit and tell you about some of the ways that you can make money or work in real estate. So to get started, there's a couple different jobs. So when people think of real estate, they think real estate agents. So those are really just salespeople. They sell real estate, they have access to the MLS, and they're working directly with the client and then they go to another basically the seller, and the seller has an agent as well, and they work with that seller's agent to basically connect the two, the buyer and the seller, and then they make a commission off of that. Usually it's 3% for each agent, depending on if you have dual agency allowed in your state. So in my state, it's not allowed. I live in Texas, so each agent gets 3%, and they're basically just the connector. And then that's what most people think of, and I'm not huge on real estate agents. I personally wouldn't want to be a real estate agent just because you're just a salesperson, and it's all contractor based. It's all commission. You don't have a base or anything, so you're very reliant. And I don't really think you're in the real estate agent industry if you're a real estate agent. That's just my personal opinion. You're not investing in real estate. You're just trying to make money off the top. So I'm not huge on it. And then, so that's the first one people think of. Then you have lenders. Those are the people that give you your money so that you can invest in real estate, because real estate's a highly leveraged business or industry. That's why you can see it hurt a lot of people, especially back in 2008, big financial crisis. A lot of people were highly levered because back then there was very loose restrictions on lending. So they got in a lot of debt, low money down loans, and then there was also the subprime, which were these subprime loans that basically you have your top tier mortgage or your A mortgage, and then subprime is quite a bit below that. I won't go too in depth in subprime because I'm not super educated on it, so I don't want to steer y'all wrong, but basically they were giving out these really bad loans and to the people that really shouldn't have been buying properties, and they basically weren't able to make their payments because they were just terrible. They had balloon payments, which is where there's just this massive lump sum that they owe at the end of their mortgage, and they couldn't make it, and so there was a lot of foreclosures, and then all these properties basically hit the market and inventory shot up. And so as your supply goes up, demand goes down, and it just tanked the market. And so that was basically what happened in 2008. So lenders now are a lot stricter. You can still get in for pretty low payment, but that's kind of the thing with real estate, is it's a highly levered industry. So it's something that you have to be careful of if you're trying to invest. Just understand that, if you're taking on a lot of debt, it can cripple you. Now, obviously, we've seen a big bull run the last 10, 13 years. So we feel like you can't get hurt in real estate, but as long as you're knowledgeable and know about some of these things, you can alleviate some of that risk. But there's always going to be risk, especially with a lot of leverage like this. So that's lenders. They kind of walk you through the whole process, and they make sure that you're up to standards and you're eligible for some of these loans, and then they help you with the loan packages, because there's so many different ways that they can get you money depending on what your exact circumstances are. They walk you through your income, everything. So that's lenders. Next is this title company. I guess you could count that. That's basically where they kind of handle the transaction itself. So your transaction doesn't go through your real estate agents, it goes through a title company. That's where you put an escrow, which is basically the money that you put up that says, yes, I want to buy this property, and then the title company holds it, and then there's a certain period where your money goes hard, and that's when you have your little negotiation period, and you're able to do inspections on the property and everything. And then when your money goes hard, that's when they send that money to the seller. And that's basically where you're kind of locked in. And at that point, if you back out, you lose that escrow money. So escrow is just kind of like a security deposit, I guess, for buying a property. So that goes through a title company. They handle all of that. They handle the deed. They handle the title and stuff. And yeah, so title company, pretty important, especially if you want to do investing. Have a good relationship with the title company, have good relationships with lenders and agents. All this is, people you want to have relationships with, and because each job is just different, so it's good to know about all of them. And then kind of what I'm interested in and what I do is wholesaling. So wholesaling is more investments on the investment side of things. So wholesalers, a little bit different than real estate agents. Real estate agents usually work on the MLS. And there's similar ways, but just slightly different. So wholesaling is usually distressed properties. So wholesalers will go out looking for off-market properties for the most part. They can look on the MLS as well, but they basically try to get a property way below market value. Usually about 80% ARV, which ARV is after repair value. And they'll go out and they'll try to lock these properties up for low. They'll get it under contract for a lower price. Usually it'll be a cash payment. So they get a lowball offer out, and then if the seller's like, yeah, I'll sell it to you for that, I need to get out quickly. Here, sell it to me for cash. I'll take this amount of escrow, and let's do it. And then the wholesaler sends out a contract to them, gets it locked up, and usually they have a clause in there that allows them to assign that contract, which assign means that they can assign it to another person that can take their place for the contract. And that's where most of the wholesale transactions come from, is they take that contract, go to a fix and flipper or another investor that wants to buy and hold it, and they'll basically sell that contract for $10,000 higher or whatever they want to make their assignment fee. And say they lock the property up, it's under contract for $250,000. So the wholesaler is going to buy it for $250,000. They take that contract, go to a cash buyer, and are like, hey, I'll sell you this contract for $260,000. Then the wholesaler makes the $10,000 in between. So they're basically the middleman as well. And the price, there is no limit. It's not like they just get 3% of the purchase price. So really where they make the money is in their negotiation skills, because they can negotiate with the seller to get it down lower. They can negotiate with the buyer to sell it for higher. And they just get the spread in between. And then how the payment works is they go to the title company and they get both contracts, the original contract and the assignment contract. And then when the deal closes, basically they'll, pay the seller the money, and then, take the payment from the buyer, and then you get in between. And that's how it works. That's with an assignment. There's also another thing called double close, which I won't really go into, but it's basically both the seller and the buyer and yourself usually go to the title company, and they'll close with the buyer first, take that money and use that to pay the seller, and then you get a check. And usually it's just a check you get at the title company. So title company is very important. Ones that work with investors are very important. Now that's if it's all cash. I won't even get into creative financing because there's so many different nuances. Again, this is a lot of information, but I'm just giving a quick rundown of the different job descriptions. And then lastly, wholesalers. I'm definitely missing one, but I guess the next thing would just be like fix and flippers. They can do the same thing as wholesalers. They just don't deal with the wholesaler. They can get the property under contract for themselves through off market or through MLS, and they try to get it as low as possible so that they can then rehab the property and then make a profit off of it. So they're basically buying for the ARV, which is the after repair value. They want to get a property for low, be able to rehab it, repair it, make it look nice, and then resell it on the MLS or on the open market and make as much money as possible. Profits, for a good fix and flip, is probably around $30,000. That's pretty good. And then, so that's kind of fix and flip. It just depends. It's a tough market, and when the market's going down, because you want the after repair value to be going up. So yeah, I'm not huge on fix and flip personally. I'm more of a, if I buy a property, it's either going to be a wholesaler, it's going to be one that I buy and I want to rent out. So then the last thing is those BRRRR investors, which is abbreviation: buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. So that's where you buy a property, usually low as well, lower price. You rehab it, kind of like a fix and flipper, but instead of selling it right away, you rent it out. So you get tenants in there. So they start giving you income and basically paying down your mortgage, you're building equity. Then you refinance it. So you go back to a lender like, hey, I'm making this amount of income. I'd like to get this on a different loan. Because usually when you first buy it, you're using hard money lenders, which they have high interest rates. So you refinance it with an actual institution, say, hey, I'm getting this amount of income. Usually you can get a lower interest rate and then you can hold it. So then you hold the property for a while, and so when you refinance, you can also take out your initial investment depending on what it appraises for. So you can actually get out the original money that you put in for a down payment, take that money out because it's equity. Assuming you rehabbed it well and it appraises higher, you can take out that original investment tax-free because it's technically equity and it's technically your money. You're not going to pay capital gains on that equity. And then you take that money and go buy another property and do the same thing until you have a pretty nice portfolio of properties that are just renting out. So that's a super quick rundown of most of the ways that you can work in real estate. I'm probably missing one or two. There's probably some other super nuanced roles, but those are the ones that I'm most familiar with and the ones that I care about. Leave a comment down below which one sounds most interesting to y'all. And I can, go more in depth in each one, but that's just a high level, all the roles of real estate. So if y'all have any questions, please let me know. But anyways, that's today's video. See y'all next week. Later.